This video is possible thanks to contributions to the Existence University Patreon by viewers like you. Thank you.
Lost in the woods. Let's imagine that the trees in a forest represent ideas and data points from experiments from ideas, and that somewhere in the forest is a cabin which represents our goal state. Well-trained scientists and philosophers walk into these woods every day and walk out of these woods every evening, as seen from the town of regular working people. Most of the people from town wait in bated breath for when the scientists and philosophers return from the woods, so as to hear the new discoveries that were made in the cabin. Some brave souls think that they have seen the scientists and philosophers enter and return from the woods enough times to conclude that it is safe to travel through them. They think that if the scientists or philosophers can do it, then so can they. What these brave souls are unaware of is that the scientists and philosophers have no clue how to navigate the woods themselves either. In fact, it almost seems like the trees move around every so often, and it is dizzying for everyone. What the brave souls are also unaware of, because of their first innocent ignorance, is that the scientists and philosophers have many guides. They have maps, all of which are drawn in pencil, and are covered in eraser markings. GPS, which cannot help them find a single tree, but can put them within 2 miles of it. And most importantly, rope, which is used to string together trees that are important, and each new tree is therefore tied to the rest of the chain, until finally, the idea trees are all wrapped up nicely. The cabin itself sucks, by the way. It's just where they spend hours writing the papers that the people in town want to only hear the titles of. The fun part was the slow process of picking trees to tie together, and to untangle and untie trees that didn't belong. The cabin was mythified by the townsfolk, causing them over time to think that the cabin just had tomes of knowledge, and that if you made it to the cabin, the tomes would give you an answer that you could take home. So our brave souls set off into the woods. One soul, a townie named Glory, had no desire to report back any particular findings. He just wanted the biggest one he could find. Another soul, a fella named Abe, wants to find the report that God exists and bring it back to town, knowing that the scientists are hiding it somewhere in the cabin. And last, but not least, the third brave soul, named Will, wanting to know for himself if free will exists or not. Here is how the situation played out. Glory, Abe, and Will walked into the woods, moving beyond a point to which they could no longer see the clearing and the town. And it happened quicker than any of them were anticipating. And it's darker than any of them were anticipating as well. Glory heads off to find a large tree, imagining that the cabin would be in the center of the woods, and that it would presumably also be where the largest trees are. When he finds one, he can see a bunch of rope tied to the tree, and in fact, he sees a scientist tying a rope to it at that very moment. Glory figures out that the trick is to tie the trees together. That's how you find the cabin. He starts to tie together whatever trees look the coolest, having no way to tell which are healthy and which are rotted out shells. After some time of tying trees together, he has still not found the cabin. He comes across a scientist and asks to be shown the cabin. The scientist takes him to the cabin and opens the door and lets the man have a walk around inside. But there's nothing in here. It's just a writing desk and a giant stack of unused loose-leaf paper, Glory exclaims. Oh, and a pencil or a pen, I would hope. Did someone steal the pens again? Responds the scientist. But where are the tomes of information? Glory snaps. The what? Like the textbooks? We sold them to you. They should be in town. No, I mean the totems that you guys get your wisdom from. The golden information that you report back to town. Oh geez, you guys aren't taking our work too seriously, I hope. There are no totems. We just like linking together the right trees. The cabin part actually kinda sucks. Glory storms off, angry that he cannot claim rights to one of the lines of the totems. But that brought a more devious thought to his mind. If I took a line from the totem, then another scientist could have also, and might also read past where I had stopped, and therefore I might have lost my fame. But there is no totem. There is no one that can steal my fame. I just need to tie together all the coolest trees until I have the answer to everything. Over time, many of Glory's trees rot, and the rot spreads, until the region of the woods that he has tied off from the rest of the world turns into a mud pit. Abe was different. Abe went straight to a scientist, and he demanded to see the cabin. Upon seeing that it was empty, he declared, "See? I knew it. You are hiding the totems," and he stormed off, leaving behind a very confused scientist. Abe then saw that scientists were tying together trees. Like one tree was the data tree that parents and offsprings look alike. Abe agreed. And the other tree was a data tree that offspring have genetic variations from their parents. Abe also kind of agreed. And eventually this rope led to a scientist that was busy examining fruit flies on a banana tree. "Excuse me," cried Abe, shouting up at the woman in the tree. "Where can I find God in your rope chain?" "What?" "Where might I find God in the trees you linked together?" "I didn't include that idea tree. I didn't need to. If you want, though, I can show you where the idea tree of God is." "Fantastic, please do. I would love to see it," Abe exclaimed. After a brief walk, they get to the idea tree of God, which is in very bad condition. The bark has entirely fallen off. The branches haven't produced new life in decades. The core is hollowed out, and you can hear the rats living in it, sustaining themselves on it like parasites. A deep knife carving can be clearly seen across a large section of the tree which reads, "Nietzsche was here." "What the hell is this?" Abe exclaims. "That's the idea tree of God. Mind you, it looks a lot worse than the last time I stopped to look at it." "This is a joke, right? This is just your idea tree of God. I want to see the real one, the one that is beautiful and eternal." "Sorry, bud. That's the OG tree. It was a powerful tree for a long time. But we all have to go someday," the scientist said in a gentle tone, patting the tree, causing a few twigs to fall off. "Take me home," Abe demanded. At home, Abe began to rally some folks into voting for cutting down some of the trees he saw and didn't like. Finally, we have Will. Will is an innocent student. He might have some hopes and expectations that he isn't responsible for his actions, but he hasn't locked in an answer just yet. Will knows, however, who his favorite thinker is. So when he sees his favorite philosopher of free will, he follows him. The philosopher is in a discussion with another person Will has never seen before. Will sees his favorite philosopher and the gentleman talking about this one tree, and the philosopher mentions some words about it being related to free will. So Will walks up to the two gentlemen to hear them speak more clearly and to get a closer look at the tree. Will is taken in by the tree, examining what he can of it from his position on the ground. So lost in looking at the tree, Will fails to notice that his favorite philosopher and the gentleman have vanished, nowhere to be seen. "Oh no," Will calmly panics. "I might be more confused now than before I started," Will says to himself. The tree Will was looking at was the idea tree that if you can time travel, you cannot change your decision. Will has no idea what caused this tree to grow, or how it's developing, or how healthy it currently is. But his favorite philosopher was here, so he is safe here for now. Will has no idea how to get to the next tree, or that he should be tying them together to make sense of their existence. Will basically only knows that this tree was good enough for his favorite philosopher, and that's good enough for him. Will only moves to other trees when, a few times per year, waiting for his favorite philosopher to be visible, he quickly runs to that new tree for safety. Will has not learned to tie the trees together, and quickly loses sight of which trees he has been to before and which he hasn't. At times he doesn't even realize that he has moved in circles between the trees that have no reason to be connected. Will gets so lost that when he calls someone for help on his phone, they ask him if he can find the first tree that started him on his path. Will doesn't know where that tree was, nor does he understand why the rescuer would want him to start over. I don't want you to start over. I'm trying to understand the path you took so I can find where you got lost, says the rescuer. Oh, that makes sense, says Will. So I was at the tree where if you time travel, you can't change your mind. Okay, perfect. Take me through where you went after that, says the rescuer. Yeah, okay. So then I was at the tree where everything is random, chance, and then I found my way to the tree where people were asked to put their hands up to test free will. Whoa, stop. That doesn't make any sense. Those trees are on opposite sides of the woods. How did you get from one to the other? I don't know. I was running pretty quick. On your way through from the first tree to the second, did you pass through the physics trees? Or the psychology trees? Or did you pass the empiricist elms? Or the stoic spruces? I don't know. I don't remember anything in particular. I just kind of ran a mile and I was there. Okay, that doesn't even make any sense. They're 20 miles apart. How did you get there in 1 mile? Will just shrugged. Hello? You know I can't see you, right? Was that a shrug I heard? It was, wasn't it? You know what? You chose to wander into the woods without a map. That's your fault. You get yourself out. But that's not fair. The tree I'm currently at says it's not my fault, so please help me. The moral of the story. The truth about adulthood, and the truth about all professionals in any career, is that they are normal human beings trying to tie together a vast forest of information, and no one has any secret answers to this. When some people discover this fact, they abuse it for fame and glory. When some others discover this fact, they deny it, having an emotional attachment to their answer. And so too do they demand the end to answers that disagree. And some people have not yet discovered this at all. And the innocent student of wisdom and knowledge gets lost in the dark forest of information. If they cling to an idea, they will assert that they know it, unbeknownst to them that what others mean by to know it includes knowing how their thought process got there, and that it is all tied together without contradictions. For all they can know, being so lost, is that the words appear to match, that they appear to be at the idea, and it is unclear to them why they ought to know how they got there. And likewise, unbeknownst to them, they do not know that to repeat something because it sounds good to you is not the same as knowing it.
This video is possible thanks to contributions to the Existence University Patreon by viewers like you. Thank you.